Say the pledge, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to guess there's no additions or deletions. Is there a motion to approve the August 10th council meeting and executive session?
I move that we approve, come here you. I move that we approve both of these sets of minutes.
This motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Reports, Councilman Moulton.
Yes, I attended the firefighter spouse appreciation dinner last night. It was a little awkward since I was the only male spouse in the group, but
There you go.
they did put on a great show. Everybody went home with gifts and prizes and everything. It was a good time.
Was that what was going on out at the
Fort,
Yeah, I saw all the vehicles pulling up out there. I thought, usually that's done in the fall, but it's kind of hard to.
Well, that's been pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. Councilwoman Fons.
Nothing other than I did sit in on the teleconference for the coronavirus. I remembered it this time.
I remember.
And other than that, that's it.
I remember it about an hour afterwards. Council.
All I've got is I've been talked to, since school started, I've talked to some constituents and parents and things that have brought up some things about, and I know that we've talked about it before in the past about the speed limit sign down here, the digital one. If it could be someday or something, we could entertain the possibility of moving it more north towards the rec center, getting more, controlling the speed a little longer length. I think it's right there at the middle school, and it should be down 2 blocks north. And I know that we discussed it before, but we didn't go far with it. But there's quite a few people, including the principal, would like to have us entertain that. And I told them I'd bring it to council.
That's a YDOT deal.
Yeah, I seen
That's
YDOT
their
actually
signs. We need to talk to
messing
them.
with it the other day.
So anyway, there's concerns with that folks aren't getting their speed limits down soon enough in there when it's on. And so I told them I'd bring it here to the council today. And that's all.
Councilwoman Nunn.
Yeah, got 2 pages there, Bruce.
Oh, God. They're on our record.
They're short, Bruce. I attended the solid waste disposal meeting. I learned that it costs approximately $10,000 a month to dispose of solid waste in Casper, but we are fortunate that we live as close to the Natrona landfill as other communities pay quite a bit more to participate. Due to the distance factor, I know my brother-in-law told me his garbage bill in Douglas had doubled, so I guess we're not doing too badly. Solid waste disposal at the Natrona County landfill is open to all residents within the Glen Rock area waste disposal district. I'm still looking for a map to define just where those boundaries are. I don't know where they are for sure. I'm pleased to see that the sheep herders are back in town this weekend. And I want to thank Kelly Randy and the cemetery board for solving the $6,000 grave digging mystery. Good job. And at one time in June, we had talked about safety place stickers to be put in safe places a person could get in, go if they were in trouble. Have we had any follow through on that project?
The chief checked into that. Some of it's fairly expensive to get the stuff for it.
It also requires, the programs that are still out there are specifically designed for safe places for teens and not for younger children. And they require a community support group outside of the government to support and operate that program.
Well, that's kind of complicated, isn't it?
I think it's extremely complicated for our community and the number of teens that we would have that would take advantage of that type of program.
So maybe we just kind of want to think about that for a while.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And then this last one is kind of a combination of a concern that becomes a question. We are dedicating $4+ million to create a town park, while at the same time we own a historic building, the Lincoln Building, that has issues that need to be addressed. The roof must be fixed immediately if the building is going to continue to function. But do we know what kind of structure we are dealing with? Do we have an evaluation of the building structure, brick by brick, by a structural engineer to know what the potentials for the building are from the structural point of view?
We had several look at it 3 years ago when we were looking through there and gave us a lot of ideas about it. We have not spent the money to bring back in those and some architects to come up with an idea and a design. We do have some money in the budget for that this year. Maybe we can, since things are kind of getting a little more quiet with the COVID thing, maybe we can kick a few more of those guys off center, see if we can't get them come down and look. It's going to be an expensive process. It doesn't need to be the $5 to $7 million that they originally looked at when they first, what the Paleon first came up with.
Did they evaluate the structure of the
Yeah,
building at that time?
that structure's pretty sound, clear to the floor of the second level. From the second level to the roof is not in great shape, but actually the rest of it's fairly strong, and there's some work that needs to be refurbished and do part of the main beams, but it's all concrete posted and rebarred. It's actually a pretty sturdy building. It was a car dealership. It's a pretty tough building to the second floor.
So maybe we can get on something going on that this
Well,
year.
we need to get some, there's been a million times they've got together and come up with different ideas what to do there, whether or not we stick with that second floor and build something up there, or do we bring it down to just the first level or whatever. But we need, I don't know, there's been a million times that's been brought together and different ideas come up, but we need to do, the problem is if you're going to refurbish the building, if you're not going to have everybody out of there for years, it's going to be a project that you start and finish.
That's
Top to
right.
bottom, decide what you're going to, we got to do. So that's the biggest thing on it. And
And we have the museum to consider.
well, yeah, and that's the biggest thing, is to consider how to do it, how to displace everybody for the shortest period of time we can, and get them back into the building. That's what the whole thing was the building was basically for the Paleon itself. And of course, they were supposed to help with it. It was when the town bought it to help them out, because they couldn't make the payments on it. It was going to go back to the Knutson Foundation. The town got a Wyoming Business Council grant on it and didn't follow through. So we're one of the black eyes for the Wyoming Business Council for not stepping up and taking care of what we were supposed to quite a few years ago. Not our fault, but still the town's fault.
It would take a pretty large structure to get the museum moved into, wouldn't it?
To build a new one, yeah, and I don't, we just need to come up with some ideas and some designs and some numbers put together and see where our revenues go to and make a decision what's the next project.
Do we have anything around town that they would fit into?
Well, we might have to put them mobily into some, we got enough room there that you could put some mobile, removable systems out there behind it and stuff while they're working on the building or in the area, and then take care of it. We've discussed that. We'll just have to, it depends on when we get to it, Margaret. It's just a decision we have to do. We're going to displace a few businesses and kick everybody out of the basement,
Quite a few.
all the storage.
And the food pantry definitely is a big concern.
Yeah, and we need to think about what we're doing and where we can move those to. We don't need to displace and run people out of business and out of town or anything
No.
else. There's a lot to consider there.
I think we're looking at a large chunk of money, too.
Yep.
I'm
gonna
I
guess
don't know
we're
how
looking
this
at-
economy's going to go yet.
Yeah, I would bet if you got that one fixed top to bottom and some ideas, you're probably $3.5 million or better.
I've visited with quite a few people around town, and it seems to me like it's kind of a 50-50 split. Do we fix it or do we take it down? There's a lot of them that say we should fix it as from the historical aspects, and there's a lot of others that say it's always going to be expensive to maintain. We'd be better off to take it down and start over, put up something more usable. So that's kind of a tough decision to have to make.
It is. But it's a project we need to look at.
Definitely, I hope we can get something done this year.
I would, I would hope so too. Everything at beginning of this year, our aspects of where we were going and what we had in minds to do totally got changed. A lot of things went to back burners in a hurry. And looking at where our revenues are gonna go to and what we need to take care of.
But that's one that's not gonna stand down there forever without some
No,
kind of.
and that's actually, and under new business is the appropriations for funds to get the roof repaired now,
Yes.
so. No, it's a big concern, and it's something that the town should have took on better than 10 years ago, or more.
But now we have to.
Yeah, we're kind of stuck with it.
Well,
Well, we can't let it fall in, we gotta put the roof on it, whether we,
It's just a safety thing.
yeah, or we move everybody out, one of the two. You displace them to nowhere if you kick them out right now, so.
thank you. It's a tough issue to address, but I'm glad to see that we're thinking about doing something to address that issue. That's it, all done.
Okay. Clerk Tammy,
I have nothing.
Kelly,
I have nothing.
Randy,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Crew's been busy with parks, street sweeping, garbage collection, meter repair, meter reading, sprinkler repair, and equipment maintenance. Third Street project, I think everybody can see, I'm supposed to be roto milled this week and then paved, the overlay, 2-seater. And they're working on the alley, as you can see, too. Pathway paving's complete. They're installing all the lights. And I think what I heard from them the other day, they're gonna bring in they're gonna be putting the trees in within the next 2 weeks in the drip system, so we're moving along on that project pretty good. I had them take out one curb line on 9th because I watched a lady almost tip over in a wheelchair, and they did not put an approach in, so I requested an approach, and so that's getting taken care of for handicap, so.
That's a
That scared
beautiful,
me when I saw that. I said, nope, that should have been replaced. So, other than that, that's about it.
Yeah, it looks nice.
that's a beautiful path. We're
Yeah.
proud of that, really nice.
yeah, they're making progress, they got some things to take care of, but they've done pretty well with everything that's happened.
True.
Scott,
Mayor and Council, since our last meeting, we've got 4 new permits, 3 closed permits. The Lynn Industrial Park sign will be on the planning and zoning agenda for Tuesday the 1st. There's, you can probably see over by the Cinema Cafe where they've dug out all the dirt there. T&B Construction's leveling that out, put in some type of proposed structure. I don't know what it is yet, I haven't seen anything yet. So I have seen the plans for retaining walls and reviewed those. So something will be going in there, I don't know what.
was there anything in that about the storm drain?
Yeah, what
Because
they're
they've
gonna,
created themselves a
they're
nightmare.
gonna do a pan valley, 8-inch deep pan valley down through there. Problem is it, it's one of those catch-22s that comes to the street.
Yeah, I think it's.
Well, it still comes to the street, but the way that got taken off the edge of the road where it was originally at and shoved back behind now, I don't care what you build on there and the way they've dug that down, it will get flooded.
Yeah, and that's the reason, I looked at it, and I got a call into Ray, our city engineer, for water runoff numbers for how big a pan and how deep the pan would actually have to be to accommodate what we think we seen last year in our big rains. So that's pending there. Then, the last couple of weeks have been pretty much reviewing plans for new business. I guess I can say the Dollar General business in town, so. But that's moving along nicely. That's it.
Chief,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. On the 13th, I participated in a meeting with local and state law enforcement officials and Attorney General Barr. Attorney General Barr expressed his continuing support for local control of law enforcement and address many of the issues that are going on across the nation. Was very happy that we have a certification process that goes through the state, whereas other parts of the country, they don't have a state certification for peace officers. It was a good meeting, learned a lot of good information from Attorney General Barr. It was a good discussion between local officials and with a federal cabinet member. Participated in the State Fair Parade last weekend, or a week ago this last weekend. Was requested by Chief Byerly, the new chief over in Douglas, to participate with them, so he and I got to lead the parade off, which was fun to do. And then finally, Yara will have her procedure done this week on Wednesday. She'll be down for 2 weeks, but she'll be good after that, and we'll see how the treatment does for her. That's all I have.
Chief, when you met with the Attorney General, did you notice among the people that met with him any particular pattern in problems or issues that seem to be arising in your field?
There's no patterns or problems. There's good discussion about the credentialing and certification process for the state. And like I said, one of the mandates from President Trump's executive order back in June was for the Attorney General to review credentialing and certification processes across the nation. He was very happy with what Wyoming is doing so far. And the other issue that came up that there was quite a bit of discussion on was grants and finding ways to get meaningful grants all the way down to the smaller agencies in a rural state like ours. He seemed to take that to heart, and his person that manages law enforcement grants was at the meeting as well and took a lot of good notes. So I'm hoping that grant opportunities will be such that it'll be easier for smaller agencies to take advantage of them.
So on the issue of certification, are we here in Glen Rock all certified and in good shape?
Yes, we have to obtain, for Wyoming, all law enforcement officers have to get a state certification that all of our officers are required to.
And all ours in Glen Rock have that currently?
Yes.
Excellent, thank you. A question from back there.
As far as the grants, what type of grants are they talking about?
Grants for law enforcement agencies to get better equipment and training, primarily circled around training and obtaining the funds to train, because we are a rural state where we're spread out. It's hard for small agencies to take advantage of trainings. So, for example, a lot of times, because we are small in Glen Rock, to fund training and to attend training, it often creates an overtime issue. So it's revolves around training and equipment primarily.
So training as far as like how to handle mental health issues?
Well, that's
Things that are outside of the normal purview?
That's also one of the mandates is to, from the executive order to Attorney General Barr, is to address mental health, homelessness, and addiction. We do have, just on that issue alone, mental health, we do have one of our officers who is trained and certified in crisis intervention, and that's a 40-hour training class that is kind of like the gold standard across the country.
Jared, IT.
Yeah, good evening. We got all of our new infrastructure in, so it's installed. We were starting the configuration of that with Dell today, and then the gas leak kind of put a pause on that. So we'll get that wrapped up by the end of the week. Getting cameras installed, so we have the new server in, so we're starting to get cameras installed in and around to cover City Hall, and we'll have, got a quote, and we're going to have some tower climbers mount some radios on the Tallgrass site, the radio tower up by the dump. And back to one of our towers here, and then we'll be able to service cameras, because we currently have cameras in the town park and then out at South Rec. So we'll be able to service cameras out there via a wireless link, which will be a lot higher bandwidth.
Make sure you speak to the.
Yep, and we've already spoke with Russ a couple times and had permission there, so.
Just want to make sure we're in compliance on that tower. I'm sure he wants us to pay for the bill to climb. Good enough, cool.
Right. That's about it.
Any questions for Jared? Not, we'll move on to items from the floor. Okay, we'll move on to new business. First item of business is a 24-hour malt beverage permit and open container for the chamber.
Mayor, members of the council, we are having a fall fest called the Wild West Fall Fest on September the 19th, and we will have it at Kimball Park, the parking lot behind the Paleon. I have the plan ready to submit to you, but today when I was on my way to the chamber office to print that and bring it to you was when the evacuation happened, and then I had to go to work at my other job, and so I didn't get a chance to print it. But I will have a copy for you and the chief by tomorrow, and for Randy. We are asking to close 5th Street from Birch to Aspen, and then also Aspen Street from 4th to 5th. There will be a 5K run that will conclude at the park. There will be a barbecue cook-off. There will be a brew fest. There will also be activities at the rec center. I'm meeting with the GEDC tomorrow to find out about that and what the participation will be at the rec center. The 24-hour open container is to allow people to attend the brew fest, to go out into the park, the barbecue area, and to have open container. I have attached the liquor guidelines that we will adhere to, that there will be one checkpoint for taking money for the brew fest and checking IDs. There were originally going to be 2 additional vendors. The Four Aces representative is here, but the Higgins has chosen not to be a vendor. They're just going to be open. So I'll have to get with you and Kelly as far as the refund of their application fee. They're just going to be open for regular hours on their deck and in their business. They're not going to be a liquor vendor. If someone comes to Chelsea's booth and they don't have an ID band, each individual vendor will ID them and provide the band. We will need additional, obviously, trash cans and that kind of thing. But it's just, rather than close 4th Street or Birch Street, where there's windmill blades going down and going through the highway department, we opted to do the Kimball Park Paleon parking lot, Lincoln Building parking lot.
How long would the streets be closed?
From 2, well, I would like for the street to be closed from like 1 in the afternoon so that people can be set up and ready to go by 2 until midnight. The ordinance is music can only go until midnight.
What are the plans at the rec center you were talking about?
Well, the GEDC wants to showcase the drawings that the town has for the renovation of that park with the amphitheater, the splash park, the park that will go past the front of here and down into the corner, the future plans. And I am finalizing tomorrow a company out of Casper, a hot air balloon pilot, that will do tethered balloon rides where you go up 100 to 150 feet. It's tethered, you don't actually float, but people can go up and look over the town. I am talking with a person who has a petting zoo, because I think that if we have the barbecue cook-off and the brew fest, and there's just pictures at the rec center, like what's going to inspire people to go. So I want to have some fun activities that haven't really been done in Glen Rock before at the rec center.
Okay, so if we're going to do something inside there, I'd want to see the compliance of COVID.
Right,
compliance
everything
for
that we're
indoors.
doing for the festival is outside. We're not going to do anything inside. The Farmer's Almanac assures me that we should have good weather that weekend, but it is Wyoming and it's September.
Okay.
And so hopefully if I could do a compliance, and I think there is a health code compliance in what I provided.
Just want to make sure indoor things is a little bit different.
Right, because it's limited to 250 and more space, social distancing, more mask requirements, that kind of thing. So Roy, do you want me to provide that to you by tomorrow of what happens if we have to
I
move
just-
inside?
Biggest thing is we'll have to see
See what they're doing.
between now and then, how many times the governor changes that between now and.
Right, because we have a deadline
15.
the end of the month and a deadline the 15th of
He
September.
keeps lifting the outdoor thing, so
Right,
there might be some possibility there.
okay.
Can I say something? So Christy and I had talked about, after I talked to Randy about, he mentioned that they were doing these events, and I said, well, maybe if she could come to the GEDC and we could talk to them about helping with one of the functions. And I wasn't sure where they were going to do it, and I had mentioned the outside of the rec center, if, we could showcase some of the stuff, but I
That'd be
wasn't
nice.
sure if we were talking about this one, or you said you're having another function in October.
No,
Like at
this is,
Oktoberfest?
that will be the Halloween. It
Okay.
will be Halloween, so we're talking about this one in September, the 19th. That, I'm coming tomorrow to the GEDC to talk about.
Okay, well,
This sounds
Talk
really
about it
exciting. Good plan.
It'll be fun. I think it'll be great. Get people out and it'll be cooler.
Where's the entrance/exit gonna be? One way in, one way out.
If you look at the south end of Fifth Street is where the entrance will be. And that will be the checkpoint for all entry, because the street will be blocked off and everyone will have to go through the south end of Fifth Street.
Is there gonna be someone on the north side stopping people and telling them they gotta walk all the way around if they
Yes.
wanna go in? Okay.
And if we have to use, for lack of a better term, crime tape, to create the perimeter, then we can do that, where they are not just able to come in at any point. They'll have to come in
Yeah, we
through
need some kind of a tape or barricade.
a barrier, right?
Barricade,
Area,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and ask, is there a motion to approve the 24-hour malt beverage catering permit for the,
In addition,
Chamber.
we have an additional permit because we want open container, but then we
Yeah,
will also be
yeah.
charging for the,
I was going to read.
okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. And
Right.
the open container permit also, is there a motion for those two?
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for a 24-hour malt beverage catering permit.
And the open container?
Yeah, open container also.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. It was easier on the second, wasn't it? Is there any other discussion?
Mayor, I'd just like to say I really appreciate the health order information they included with their.
That's nice.
I think Tammy updated that today, didn't you?
no, I just asked Christy for
We'll
it.
do it, okay, well, good, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
And one other thing, I would just like, when they do their planning for the, if I understand the map correctly, your brewers are going to be set up on, the brew dispensaries will be set up on Fifth between Birch and Aspen.
Correct.
As you said, as you start designing your layout, you might want to encourage you to think about putting something in for families and minors to be able to cross from the barbecue area over into the park, rather than having to circle back around up to the roadway or.
Have a crosswalk. Okay,
Yep,
thank you.
Set up like a little crosswalk area.
Okay, thank you. That's a good idea.
Any other discussion? If not, I will call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Christie. Let me see. The next one here would be for the Four Aces. Application for a 24-hour malt beverage catering permit. Chelsea,
Hello.
how are you?
Good, how are you? We're just gonna have the full bar for the Brew Fest.
Okay.
Nothing too special, we'll have some games and stuff going on, but full COVID compliance and all that.
Okay.
Did you get the signed,
Signatures.
that Jason can sign this?
Yeah, I can get it signed
Okay,
whenever. I don't get to see
what's that?
any of the owners very often, so
Yes.
I will get.
Yeah, we need to get specific owners to sign them, so everything's in compliance for the
Yep.
Liquor Commission.
I'll call him when I leave here. And
Sure, just get him to come sign it for us. We'd
Yep.
appreciate it. Is there a motion for the application for 24-hour malt beverage catering permit for the Four Aces?
I move we approve a 24-hour permit for the Four Aces.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Can we legally do this without this being signed
Yes, we can,
We
as
can,
long as
right.
it's signed before they get,
before they get the permit as such?
yes. If they don't get it, they don't get it.
it'll be signed.
She'll get it.
I promise.
Any other discussion? Not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Thank you. So our next one is, no, we're not going to,
I think the Higgins backed out,
yeah,
didn't
the
they?
Higgins are out, so we'll move on to the next order of business, which is Resolution 2020-17.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but when the news in your application, then I got a call from Robert Short. He said that county changed the ruling that if it's on your given property, you don't have to pay anything. So his concern was if it's on their property where they would actually set up the bar underneath the deck, why did they have to pay a permit versus why did they
Because it's not in their where their license says their serving room's
I
at.
think it's not your designated dispensary. Your designated dispensary area is your bar and restaurant, and this is outside of that. And
And-
so I just wanted some clarification on
I spoke with Kelly Hunt,
that. Okay,
and he said that there were some changes, but it didn't have to do with full retail
okay,
licenses. So they could set up the bar anywhere in the building,
but not,
but not outside.
all right.
So,
Thank you. That's-
yeah.
Okay. Resolution 2020-17, a resolution providing for appropriations of unappropriated surplus funds and the transfer of unencumbered and unexpended appropriations from fiscal year 2021 budget. Whereas it appears that it is necessary for the budget of the town of Glen Rock to be, oops, touched it and it got way big. Increased, I was like, where'd that go? And amended for the fiscal year July 1, 2020 through June 30th, July 2020 to June 30th, 2021, taking into account certain unappropriated surplus funds and unencumbered and unexpended funds. Therefore, it be resolved by the governing body of the town of Glen Rock, Wyoming as follows. Section 1, the Bronco Building Fund Account 119.5550.5510, geez. Building and grounds maintenance is increased by the sum of $85,000, the source of which will be unappropriated surplus funds. The sole purpose is to repair the roof of the Bronco building. Transfer general fund, Bronco building, $85,000, miscellaneous revenues, building and ground maintenance, passed and approved and adopted 24th day of August 2020. Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we approve Resolution 2020-17.
There's a motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Do we have a contractor? Are we ready to go on this?
Yes, it's,
Immediately, we can start.
the reason we're doing go ahead, you can tell the
Madam
count.
Mayor and Council, we are having Calling Brothers Roofing do the project. The reason we're getting this in now, they're requesting half before they start work. And so I would ask if you could amend your motion to include approval of a check to be cut tomorrow so that we can get them started.
How long is this going to take?
I don't know. I called him right after the last council meeting and told him to get the stuff ordered, so, and I haven't talked to him since.
Okay, so he probably did order it even though he didn't get 50% down.
Well,
would
he said he was
order
gonna order it right away, yeah. He said he'd get the order in. It was coming from
So
Denver.
amend your motion to pay half tomorrow?
Sure.
Okay.
I'd like to amend my motion to approve Resolution 2020-17 to pay half to Collins Brothers Roofing tomorrow.
Okay. Who seconded that?
I second that.
Again? It's always easy on the second, isn't it? Okay, it's been motioned and seconded again with the adjustment. Is there any other discussion?
I know this really needs to be done, but to me, it really seems like it's a step backwards.
Unfortunately, right now, it does, because we fixed the lower roof and did some patching 3 years ago.
3 or 4?
3.5 years ago. And we thought it would last a little. The lower area was way better. There was just some patches on top, and they thought it would last longer, but why this opened up, we don't know. So it's a hard pill to swallow.
I agree with Councilman Moulton. Given my yay with reservation, it's kind of a tough one, so.
Yeah, I have
I
the
don't know
same
if we're-
feeling, but we just can't let the water run through the building. Like I said, it's that or we move everybody out, so
The people in there need to be.
there and what's going on.
Right.
Yep.
Can I
Did
say
everything on the
something?
inside get cleaned up after the mess it made? Are the businesses okay? Have they gotten dried out? cleaned
Yeah, they're
up?
dried out, they're fine.
They're okay?
I'll get drywall work done, but I'm not gonna do it until after the roof's done.
Yeah.
Also, it's a shot. Might be a long shot, but I did email Warm to see if they would cover anything.
See if they'd cover any of it. Would hope, there might be a chance, might
Some of
would
that.
help. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. Any other discussion? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Next order of new business, Resolution 2020-18, a resolution approving award of bid for Public Works pickup with utility box. Whereas the town of Glen Rock Public Works is in need of an additional vehicle, whereas the bid for the truck was published August 6, 2020 and August 13th, 2020, whereas the bids were opened by Randy Rumpler, Public Works Director, on August 17th, 2020 at 1 p.m. And where as following: Griner Ford, $38,427, Fremont Motors, $39,020. Now therefore it be resolved, the town of Glen Rock awards a bid to Griner Ford in the amount of $38,427, passed and approved and adopted the 24th day of August 2020. Is there a motion?
I move that we pass Resolution 2020-18.
And a motion, is there a second?
A second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Just for a two-door pickup?
Extended cab with a utility box, 3/4 ton.
Seems like.
3/4 ton.
We were trying to do a half ton, but DOT does not allow utility box on a Ford half ton.
Who's
illegal.
getting this truck?
Huh?
Who's getting this truck?
April will get this truck, and we're trading the truck in that the transmission's going out of. It's an 06.
Seems like we're always buying a new pickup. I don't know.
Always buying vehicles, always buying vehicles. So are all the Public Works trucks in the future gonna be 3/4 ton?
Well, most of them are 1 ton, but most of them is gonna go back to 3/4 right now.
Okay.
Yeah, most of them with these big utility boxes are 1-tons. Any other discussion? Hearing no more discussion, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Next order of business is Resolution 2020-19, a resolution authorizing the acceptance of funding package from the Wyoming Water Development Commission for Wyoming Transmission Pipeline 2020 project, whereas the town of Glen Rock, working through the Wyoming Water Development Commission, was able to identify the need for additional potable water transmission mains to meet the current demands of its citizens in the 2011 Glen Rock Master Plan Level 1 study. Now therefore be resolved that the Town of Glen Rock Council authorizes Mayor Bruce Rommel to accept a grant from the Wyoming Water Development Commission as funding for the following project in the amount of not more than $958,100 to assist in the funding of transmission line in the 2nd Street project. Therefore, it be resolved with the governing body of the town of Glen Rock, Wyoming hereby designates Randy Rumpler, Public Works Director, as the authorized representative for the town of Glen Rock to act on behalf of the governing body on all matters relating to the grant application. Passed and approved and adopted on the 24th day of August 2020. Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion. We pass resolution 2020-19.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
What does it mean, assisted funding? How much does that still leave us to fund?
I couldn't hear your question.
What does it mean, assisted funding? How much does that still leave to be paid for?
About half,
It's about
but we gotta go to SLIB yet in January.
approximately half of this is
Yes.
will cover this?
Yep.
This is a good thing.
Yeah, we actually had this. We just needed a resolution to go to Wyoming Water Development Commission to accept because this has already been granted by them to us.
Yes, we already got this grant, and then January, middle of January, I have to go down to SLIB in Cheyenne and hopefully we'll get the other half.
Is this Second Street's next year's project?
Yes.
So hopefully we'll get some SLIB money. It would be nice if we get the other half from them or it didn't come out of our coffers, but every bit helps.
Is there any plans, Randy, in the future, like some of these cross streets over by the middle school up the hills? Some of those streets are unbelievable to come down, like Fur and Elk and all those.
To do what?
Resurface.
Oh, well, yeah. Just give me the money, I'll get it done.
Any other discussion on 2020-19? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay. Motion carries. Next order of business is to pay our bills. Is there a motion?
I make the motion, we pay our bills.
Motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion?
I will excuse myself from the vote. I got a bill on here.
Okay. Any other discussion? Not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed by nay. Motion carries.
That was a bad habit.
There's nothing else to come before the council this evening. I will entertain somebody to make a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn for the evening.
The motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed by nay.